Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Stephanie Strange and I talk about the paranormal and strange, and I'm also a psychic medium, so I'll be talking about all these various topics. And if you like that stuff, make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and you know the drill. Now, today we're going to be talking about duendes and how you shouldn't say their name or call the attention to you. But I saw a video on TikTok about the children that had gone missing. They had been stranded from a plane and they had been missing for 40 days in the jungle. And as we already know, the jungle territory is very dangerous. Like, when I think about when I'm going to go into the jungle, which like is not an everyday occurrence, but if I were to go to the jungle, like I would think of all of like natural occurrences that I would not be prepared for. Now, it is stated that one of the children, they were taught some survival tactics on how they should survive the jungle based on their culture. Now, with that being said, I started to see this TikTok, and let's play it real quick because it made me think of something very personal to me. So let's play the video.
4 kids were found in the Amazonian jungle after going missing for more than 40 days. According to reports, they were on a plane that crashed. Their mom and 2 other adults did not make it. The kids miraculously survived the crash, the youngest being 11 months old and the oldest being a 13-year-old girl. After the crash happened, over 100 officials gathered together and went into the jungle looking for these children. No matter how many times they came across clear evidence that they were in the area, they were never able to locate them. They even had neighboring tribes pitching in trying to help find these children, until finally the eldest girl's grandmother came forward and said that she believed that the children were all still alive because her granddaughter was very knowledgeable in how to survive in a jungle environment. She also stated that the reason why they were not able to locate the children, even though there was clear evidence that they were nearby, was because a duende had taken them. So pretty much the children were there when they were screaming for their name, but being that the duende had taken them, the children were in a different realm. They ended up blasting the grandmother's voice on a speaker throughout the whole jungle, where the grandmother was pleading with the duende to let the children go. Not long after, all 4 children were discovered in a clearing. All 4 of them were in somewhat okay health, considering that they had just spent the past 40 days in the jungle. This is proof that there are so many things in this world that we know absolutely nothing about. The Amazonian jungle is a very spiritual place.
It's interesting that she caught wind of that portion of the story. Now, with that being said, it makes me think of the story that my grandfather used to tell me. My mom and my grandfather told me the story, and as somebody who's also Latina, and I grew up here in the States, I was born in the States, I had to over time pick up the pieces of folklore and also learn that a lot of parts of Latin America have very similarities to their lore and beliefs. As I got older too, I also learned that duendes are not just a thing here in Mexico or Central America or South America. In fact, the Philippines also have their version of the duendes, and so does Spain. Now, that is very fascinating. It is very fascinating because again, it just goes to show that the gravity of the duende is very, very influential, and so many people may have experienced an event or an encounter with the duendes, or they probably heard of the duendes. Now, I've heard different variations of it. Now, in the story, she talks about the duendes and how the duendes kidnap the children. I've never heard of that. However, not to say that it doesn't happen, because again, so many people talk about this creature. I found this documentary, and I'm gonna play a couple of clips from this. So the part here where she starts to talk about...
In the 70s and 80s, it was rather difficult to practice complementary, alternative, natural medicine in the United States. I spent 13 years as apprentice to Maya shaman Don Eligio Panti from San Antonio in Belize. The duendes, he explained, are the earth spirits. They're assistants to the 9 Maya spirits, and they come to announce the beginning of a dream vision and the presence of the Maya spirits. So I encountered them dozens of times before a dream would begin. So this one night, I was aware of a little body behind me. I looked down and I saw two little hands here and two little feet here. So I turned around and tried to look into this little creature's face, and it went right back at me, and it had this little round face that was all kind of hairy. The feet were on backward, and the hand had only fingers, no thumbs.
Now, in this documentary, there is this couple that talks about how, like, when they were doing the research and they were putting together the story of the Tata Duende, some people refused to talk about it or didn't want to talk about it. So it is believed that if you do talk about this, you are drawing attention to you, which is so interesting, you guys, because I think of the notion of like skinwalkers and how like people say, don't say that word, don't bring it up, you're going to draw attention to you. Now I'm protecting myself from my energy. Ancestors protect me. But anyway, I truly think that that is a very interesting thing, that there's creatures out there that you just don't want to draw attention to yourself. Now, why I point this out is because in this exact documentary, they talk about how they believe that this is I heard a cat like screaming outside of my house. It's been happening all day. Sorry. Okay. They say that like the duendes are a earth spirit. It is something that protects what is around you. So like the word duende derives from the Spanish word dueño, the dueño, or the owner of the land and protector of the land. That's how I'm piecing it together, at least. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, that's a very interesting thing, Stephanie, because we've never heard of this lore maybe being tied to Mayan roots. And where is this documented? Well, that's something that they addressed in the documentary. They say that you cannot find anywhere that this is written because of the colonization or gotten rid of these things. But what I find interesting, and I'm not doubting this, but if I'm trying to think of it logically and through different spins here, to me, it would make sense that it would come from Spain because, of course, then it kind of molded into that in the Philippines where they also colonized. And of course, here as well, where, here in the Latin Americas where they colonized. And thus, this lore seems to be in areas where the Spanish have colonized or have set foot somewhere, right? So that's the other take on it that I kind of find very interesting. But nonetheless, I wouldn't doubt it either, though, because the Mayan were philosophers. They were very smart. There was a lot. We know that in Latin American cultures, there is things that that our indigenous people had to hide within religion or other words so that they wouldn't get, chastised or hurt or anything like that. So now that we kind of got into like the more educational, informational part of duendes, I wanted to share the story that my grandfather shared. And my grandfather shared about his encounter with what I believe is the duende. He was a little kid when he encountered it, and he said that it would eat coal from the kitchen stove, and he one day followed the footsteps. He was so confused, but he realized that its foot was on backwards, and when he followed it into the woods, he saw it out there just roaming. I don't know, it's just really, really creepy. Now, that obviously creeps me out, and the more that I look into this, the more that they describe what the duende is supposedly looks like, it very sounds similar to what my grandfather told me. Now, that's all I have for you guys today about duendes. I have shared other stories of sightings in El Salvador. So if you guys want me to share that, let me know and I can do a YouTube shorts on it. If you ever had an encounter with a duende, let me know down below. But I've also heard different names for it. So if you also have a different name to it, let me know because I want to continue this conversation. It's not just me talking. I want to hear from you guys as well. Till next time, you guys, stay strange.